Hey, it's Brad, and today I'm going to show you how to stretch your hip flexors. Now, today in our modern world, a great deal of people spend a lot of time seated at a desk, in a car. It leads to a lot of time just sitting, right? So if you can imagine, I'm seated at my desk. This position where my knee is up towards my chest, this is a flexed hip. So what happens, unfortunately, is when a muscle spends a great deal of time in any one position, it will adapt to that position and shorten on one side of a joint and lengthen on the others. In the case of sitting, we get that shortening of the hip flexors. And tight hip flexors have been linked to some problems such as low back pain. Also, tight hip flexors can inhibit our ability to move our hips, to separate our hips. This is really important in athletic endeavors such as running, sprinting, even during exercise here in the gym. So it's important that our hip flexors maintain some flexibility, all right? So to begin, I'm going to first show you what not to do for hip flexor stretching. So what I see, if I ask someone to stretch their hip flexor, here's what I usually see. I see someone get way down here, their leg is almost straight, they're really dropping their low back and their butt towards the ground. Well, this is great, but it's not really a very effective hip flexor stretch. I don't even feel a thing here, but I'm a little bit more flexible than normal. So to set up for an effective stretch of this muscle, I'm going to show you here from the side that my weight is distributed right over the knee, okay? Now, I can tuck this toe under. That may enhance the stretch. If it's uncomfortable on your knee, though, however, just lay her down. So, set up nice and tall, and what I'm going to do is imagine my pelvis is a bucket, and I want to tip that bucket backwards or tuck my tail, okay? So that bucket is going from forward to backwards. I'm going to maintain that tuck and really squeeze my left glute. Now, if I don't feel a stretch here, I can keep that pressure, that tuck and that squeeze, and then shift my weight slightly forward, and I should start to feel a stretch in the front portion of that left knee. Now, some variations can be done using a simple dowel. Now, what we're going to do with this is called a hip flexor stretch with core engagement. So what we do is set up exactly the same. I'm going to have a dowel or a broomstick. My arms are out straight. I'm going to begin the stretch by pushing the dowel directly into the ground. This engages my core muscles. Then I'm going to keep that pressure, tuck and squeeze, shift forward, hold for about 2 seconds, relax everything, and reset up for another repetition of first push the dowel, tuck, squeeze, shift forward. This is a really effective stretch as well. A couple other variations, we can do what's called the 3-position hip flexor stretch. All these same setup, but here we're going to change a little bit of this exercise by raising the arms directly overhead. Try to keep those arms straight, holding the stretch. Hold for about 10 or 15 seconds. Then we're going to side bend. Should feel a nice stretch from the lats all the way down, maybe the obliques, down into that hip flexor. And then the 3rd position is genie arms. Again, we're tucking and squeezing, twisting away from that knee. Okay. Each one of these variations changes a little bit of the angle of the pull on the hip flexor. Find the one that works best for you and stick with it. One final variation is we can do a modification that will bring a little bit of a muscle called the TFL, or tensor fascia latae, into it. This is a very high muscle up here. So again, everything's the same. I'm going to try to keep my hips square to the front. Then I'm taking this back leg and just turning it in without rotating my hips. And then any of the variations will work, crossing the arms, side bending. Just find out what works best for you. If you have any other questions on this or anything else, you can visit us at www.thebodysmith.com.